Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this slightly dark Monday morning. It's December 6, 2021, and I sincerely hope that you are all feeling well, positive about life, and looking forward to this week because I know many of you are feeling the cool air in the Philippines, particularly up north, and even here down south in Lipa, where there are mornings when I look at the temperature and it's 21 degrees centigrade in early in the morning. Kung baga, pagbangon ko, wait a minute, okay, Okay. Anyway, sorry for that slight distraction. I was just getting instructions from the studio. And anyway, welcome to the program. Thank you for being subscribers to Cignal TV channels 8 and 250 here on One News PH. Thank you for joining me once again this morning. And we will have a very interesting guest, someone many of you have seen, watched, know, but has recently retired from his job and is now applying for another position in the government. We will get to meet him later. He's someone that I personally admire and I support, and that's why we've invited him to come on the program to find out ano ba talaga ang plano niya, okay? But before we go on, let's go to our daily starter. And in case you're wondering, what is this cartoon about? This is a cartoon that was drawn by Mr. Charles Schulz back in July 31, 1968. It shows Franklin shaking hands with Charlie Brown. Now, many of you would be asking, Cito, what is this all about? This cartoon is the first time ever that a person of color, a black character, was introduced to the Peanuts gallery of cartoons. And it was a development that happened when a teacher by the name of Harriet Glickman wrote to Mr. Charles Schulz after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. Teacher Harriet kept writing to Charles Schulz to please include a black figure in the cartoon strip because as a teacher, she saw that it is very important and powerful, especially for school children, for kids in school to see this in their cartoon strips. And it did not happen overnight. Teacher Harriet had to write Mr. Schulz so many times. She also wrote other personalities. But the unusual thing about Mr. Schulz was that he would actually reply to every letter sent to him by teacher Harriet, and they carried on a conversation. Now, remember, back then, it took days for letters to reach you, especially if you lived in another state or another different part of the United States. Now, it was all snail mail, as we call it now. In any case, After the long continuing request of teacher Harriet, Charles Schulz finally decided to do something about it. And on July 31, 1968, before July 31, 1968, Charles Schulz wrote back to teacher Harriet and said, check your cartoons this week. And true enough, he had introduced Franklin. And it is something that did not end there. When the national distributor or national circulation boss for the cartoon strip saw this, he reached out to Mr. Schultz and said, you know, some of our customers or many of our readers don't really feel comfortable about what you did, and we really shouldn't distribute this all over the United States. Let's leave it as it is and let's exclude it, blah, blah, blah. Well, what Charles Schultz said was, well, why don't we do this? Either you print it as it is, or I don't do it. I stop doing the cartoons for you. And that was the end of the conversation. Now, for today's Daily Starter, I just felt so inspired by this because many of you out there may have something on your mind, something that you are bothered by, or an injustice that you believe needs to be addressed or corrected. But you choose to keep quiet. Manahimik na lang dahil ako ay isang ordinaryong Pilipino laang. Teacher Harriet Glickman was an ordinary school teacher. Charles Schulz was just a cartoonist. But now they are in the history books for taking a position, all being unpopular as it was. They took a position and they slowly chipped at the racial discrimination that was happening in the United States, and they did it through the cartoon that was being read by all the children or many children of that time. So, Daily Starter, it's not a cartoon, it's a challenge. A challenge for you to stand up for what you believe has to be said or done. And that, again, will be all the same issue or the same position that our guest has taken many times. And we will introduce him in a while. But first, let's go and glance at the front page of the Philippine Star. And there you go, the headline for the Philippine Star: vaccination herd immunity target may be increased to 90%. Historically, or for the last 6 months, the Philippine government has set a target of vaccinating 70% of the Philippine population to achieve herd immunity. But recently, because of the Omicron variant coming out of South Africa, the Philippine government, or at least officials of the Department of Health, has considered and put up the proposition that they should target 90%, if not 100% vaccination, in order to further reduce the possibility of surges, to reduce the possibility of ICUs and health facilities being overrun by COVID-19 cases. And that is the position that was shared by Undersecretary Leopolda Vega of the DOH. On top of the Philippine Star, very interesting header, USI's broader access and basing in Southeast Asia. Ayan po, no? Maganda pong story yan. This is a very interesting story because U.S. Army Secretary Christine Wormuth recently gave a talk wherein she revealed the interest or the idea or plans of the United States government to put up bases in Southeast Asia, such as they used to have in Vietnam, in the Philippines, etc., etc. And the intention for this is to strategically deploy forces, manpower, and missile capabilities in the region without having to resort to long-distance warfare or defensive position. In any case, ayan po, and that's just a question of whether it is something we will be seeing or discussing here in the Philippines. And further now, okay, a different topic, something much nicer. This is the Christmas display. And ayan po, no, visitors enjoy Christmas display in Barangay Poblacion Plaza in Imus, Cavite, Saturday night. Napakaganda pong tingnan, ano? But it just occurred to me, ladies and gentlemen, Secretary Anyo, maybe you also want to investigate this seasonal activity of the local government units that spends what I would estimate is at least 100 million or plus in Christmas displays, lighting, lanterns, etc. It looks good, but it just occurred to me this morning that that used to be the burden or the desire of every Filipino family. But now it has become a political activity of local government units, and it's a lot of money that could be feeding people instead of being displaced in the local governments. Okay, so kumbaga silip lang po yan dahil hindi na yata nila trabaho yan. Okay, hospitals are ready for the Omicron surge. Okay, yan po, no? The Department of Health yesterday assured the public that the country's healthcare system will be prepared to face a possible surge of cases due to Omicron. Okay, and we will find out, although it seems that Omicron has not made the typhoon-type impact that we all had expected. Okay, but it's too early to tell. Let's go to the other news. That photo there, okay, reminders to observe COVID protocols are displayed at the entrance of Bagong Silangan Elementary School in Quezon City yesterday ahead of the face-to-face or in-person classes in Metro Manila. So maganda na po tayo. Today ba yung umpisa niyan? Hindi ko lang masabi. Okay, next up. Glance lang po tayo today, not much on that. DOH, ito po, I have always talked about it, COVID deaths nearing 50,000 already because I had been praying so much that we would crawl our way to the 49,000 mark. But it seems based on the recent tally, over the weekend, there was a spike in the number of deaths from COVID-19. So from upper 48, we have crossed over to 49,386 with 156 deaths as of yesterday. So malungkot po yan, and we are just reminding those who have not been vaccinated, those who willingly choose not to be vaccinated and yet demand to have access to indoor facilities. I just heard of some people demanding to be allowed inside churches and declaring that they refuse to be vaccinated and therefore they cannot show their vaccination card, and then they start screaming discrimination. Nagsimba pa kayo. Okay. Let's go to the other topics in the front page of the Philippine Star. Baguio hits a low of 11.4 centigrade malamig na po sa Baguio, and that is something that was exciting and fun for so many tourists who have flocked to the city of Pine. Pero ewan ko po kung dapat pa bang tawagin ang Baguiong the city of Pine, kasi mukhang pag tumingin ka, the hills are alive with a yero, hindi na pine tree. Okay, let's go to 165. Okay, 165 groups join party list raffle. Okay, ganyan na po kadami yung mga nag-apply para tumakbong party list. I don't know what the founders of this party list law and party list movement have to say, since so many people are obviously taking advantage of this law and have actually bastardized it. But anyway, as far as the COMELEC is concerned, they have only approved 165 groups. Yung raffle pong yun, walang premyo. Kung hindi, unahan ng pangalan na lalabas sa listahan ng balota. Okay? It is simply a raffle that determines the number sequencing of people in the ballot for 2022. Okay? Now, that photo there is a photo of devotees attending church or mass at Quiapo Church outside. Kasi as you already heard, medyo konti lang po ang pinapayagan sa loob ng simbahan. I think it's only 50% capacity. You need to have vaccination card, etc., etc. Bawal ang mga bata. So they have to listen to the mass outside. Okay. And pay attention to this article of the Pope, please, okay? Because Pope Francis appealed on Saturday for a return to good politics, saying democracy has deteriorated dangerously. The Pope referred to the claims and promises of populist or authoritarian politicians as the song of sirens. Ika nga, meron kasing librong Homer's Odyssey, where sailors would cross into this particular part of the sea surrounded or filled with sirens who sang such beautiful songs, who mesmerized you, hypnotized you until they would end up being shipwrecked by their hypnosis, and the sirens would have them for lunch. Okay, so yan na po ang nangyayari. Marami sa inyo naniniwala sa mga pangako ng mga politiko tungkol sa madaling gawin, mga akong bahala, etc. Kayo ang kawawa. Okay. Now, pakiusap na lang po doon sa mga nagte-text sa akin. Mamaya ako na kayo babalikan. Nagpro-programa po ako. We'll go for a quick break, and let's just do some technical adjustment, and we will be right back here on Agenda. Okay, if you don't mind, Harvey? Okay, welcome back to the program agenda. Please bear with me if I seem to be distracted this morning because, the problem with working remotely is that I'm adjusting things. Our executive producer, Arvic Tolentino, is adjusting things. And then we have a director in on studio, on site, adjusting things. And we have a broadcast facility adjusting things. So, kumbaga, okay na kami ni Arvic, hindi pa okay kay Direk. So medyo we have to make the arrangements. Anyway, okay, like I said, we have a special guest this morning. He is someone that I'm not ashamed, embarrassed. Actually, I'm proud to say it. I am impressed with him. I have followed him in his course, the course of his service, in the latter end of his service in government. And some people found him a bit strong. Some people found him to be strict, to be vocal, but he was always transparent and he always got the job done. And it was a job that was very difficult, so to speak, because he used to be the head of the task force COVID Shield, if I'm not mistaken. Sana tama yung sinabi ko, no? But even before that, he was part of the Hinirang class of 1987 at the PMA. He served as chief of the PNP directorial staff, and he has served so well in the PNP. Recently retired. We have with us retired PNP Chief General Guillermo Eleazar. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, Cito. And magandang umaga rin sa lahat ng mga nakikinig at nanonood sa inyong programa. It's been a long time.
Kanya ako natawa, General, kasi bagamat inabot ng pagkahaba-habang panahon akong nakikiusap sa iyo, finally, I see you wearing the color blue, hindi yung patig.
Tama, Cito. Retired na tayo, pero eto, at the color is blue. Parang PNP pa rin, pero civilian na talaga. Totohanan na to.
Okay, General, hindi ko lang matanto. No? I was expecting that you would take a cabinet position, a government position like all the other, General Charlie Galvez, General Anyo, etc. Biglang hindi ka tumanggap ng government appointment, but instead you came out, not popped out, came out as a senatorial candidate under the ticket of Senator Ping Lacson and Senator Tito Soto. Medyo hindi ko expected yun. What led to this development, General?
Well, marami nagtatanungan yan, pero sa akin kasi, siguro kinonsider natin yung opportunity and the capability. As you all know, I retired from the service November 13. At merong 2 days para dun substitution. So, iniisip ko nga, baka talagang para sa akin ito, at least to run or to able to present myself to the people kung pagtitiwalaan nila, na ituloy pa rin yung ating paglilingkod sa bayan. Well, sa atin naman kasi, dapat iniisip natin, hindi siguro yung party affiliation natin, pero yung ating commitment na pwede pa rin tayo na mag-serve. Anyway, we're in democracy and nasa tao naman kung pipiliin nila o pagbibigyan tayo. But what I can see for the past more than 30 years in my service is the deep connection ng peace and order at ng ating social problems. Alam mo, Sito, ang ating mga police talagang everyday we're involved in dealing or engaging with the people, and we see hindi lang yung perspective ng law enforcement, pero yung mas malalim na rason nito. So sa akin, yun siguro yung nagmulat din sa akin nung sitwasyon para i-try din after so many consultation and finally sa pagdadasal and eventually yung permission ng aking pamilya. Alam mo, Sito, it was only the day before na yung retirement ceremony, which was November 12, November 11 yung birthday ng wife ko, na pumayag siya. Otherwise, talagang hindi man ako papasok sa ganitong sitwasyon. So, andito na ako ngayon, and General Ping Lacson, he was the first one na nagtanong sa akin kung anong plano. At ang sabi ko naman sa kanya nung una, na tatapusin ko yung aking police service and talagang sa mga unang pagkakataon na yun, wala naman talaga akong commitment at wala pang desisyon. But eventually, sabi ko nga, kung ako'y nag-decide, nakita ko na dahil siya yung aking unang nakausap and realize yung kanyang concern. At totoo naman talaga na nakita ko rin yung kanyang career, even from being the chief of the Philippine Nationalists. And now, itong masasabi natin na may pinakamagandang track record among the lawmakers na align sa kanya yung aking advocacy in case na ako ay sasama at haharap sa panibagong challenge sa dugto ng aking buhay, particularly in the public service.
Okay, General, what will be your priority in the event? And I'm confident na magsesenador ka dahil malinis ang track record mo, kapuri-puri yung iyong performance record, etc. But what will be your priority? Kasi usually ang iniisip ng tao, pulis yan, uunahin yan kapulisan o yung pagpupulis. Meron ka ba, yun ba ang natural direction mo, or are there other legislative agendas that you never had the chance to talk about but feel strongly about?
Yeah, tama ka dun, Cito, kasi nga I came from security sector. So, more or less, nandyan yung aking experience. And insider ako ng PNP for 30 years since the creation of the Philippine National Police. At dun sa huling yugto ng aking serbisyo, nakita natin through the collaboration of the public, itong we can say pagtaas ng disiplina, itong trust and confidence, at yun din yung nakikita ko para ipagpatuloy yun. In the aspect of economic development, this is always anchored in the peace and security, at alam nating lahat yan, ang masiglang ekonomiya ay nakasalalay sa maayos at ligtas na ating pamayanan. At very instrumental kung ma-improve natin ang role, mas maging epektibo ang ating kapulisan. Dahil all over the Philippines, naandyan yan. Kaya nga para sa akin, yung lalong pagpataas ng disiplina ng ating kapulisan dapat nating ituloy. Alam mo, meron pa rin siyempre na because of the system, mga nagbabalabis, nag-aabuso na ating pulis na talagang dyan naman tayo galit na galit. Kaya nga, kung palalakasin pa natin yung internal discipline, lalo na yung internal affairs service natin, na binigyan natin ng napakagandang role during this past administration. So, pwede natin na lalo pa na mas maging epektibo ang kanilang role. Hindi na lang sila recommendatory yung kanilang role. Alam mo, Sito, itong Internal Affairs Service, after investigating all of these things na napakatagal, yung kanilang kanilang findings, recommendatory pa lang yun. It's still up to the disciplinary authority, particularly the Chief PNP, as well as the Regional Director and other Directors of National Support Unit, kung ano desisyon at pwede nilang baligtarin dyan. So kung mas maging independent sila, ito magbibigay ito ng signal sa ating kapulisan na kung merong paglabag o pagmamalabis at siguradong ito ay maimbestigahan at bibigyan ng sanksyon, magdadalawang isip buwan ng kalokohan. And yung paggamit ng ating state-of-the-art technology, itong ating modern policing na kailangan na natin. Like kasing iniisip natin na kailangan dagdagan ng pulis para mas maging epektibo. Pero sa totoo lang, hindi natin kailangan napakaraming pulis kung mas maganda ang ating mga kagamitan. Hindi yung pagsasolve ng kaso, kailangan palagi ng eyewitnesses. Minsan tuloy, nag-iimbento na ng mga testimonya para lang ma-resolve ang isang kaso. At minsan, andon yung mga sinasabi natin, ng mga allegation, na nagdodoktor na, nagpa-plant ng evidence. All of these things may iwasan natin kung meron tayong state-of-the-art technology na siyang magbibigay ngayon ng malaking, yung sinasabi natin, the best crime prevention is the certainty na ang mga maglalabag ng batas nito, whether policeman or public, mahuhuli at mananagot dito. So yun yung ating nakikita. If this could be resolved at mapapalakas natin, mapapagaling ang ating pulis, at lalo na ma-improve yung kanilang discipline, the credibility na kailangan natin para lalong magtiwala at tumulong ating mga kababayan. Then, yung ating peace and order na siyang kawing-kawing na naging connected sa ating poverty and all other problems ng ating mga kababayan. Of course, syempre, yung korupsyon, yan ang pwedeng magsulong sa mas maganda nating ekonomiya at solusyon sa iba't ibang kawing-kawing na problema.
Naaral ba ninyo yan, General Eleazar? Because this is not the first time I know of a PNP official who will be running for the Senate or Congress who wants the best for the PNP. Pero at once they're in office, they discover na ay hindi pala pwede yung gusto ko kasi pagdating sa budget, yung presidente ang nagde-decide, yung Congress ang nagde-decide, and then at the end of the day, tira-tira or pira-piraso lang ang binibigay sa police. Because I mean, I myself can't understand why we cannot give breath analyzers, why we cannot give everybody a body cam, pero nakakapagtayo tayo ng tambak-tambak na basketball court, puro naman tayo 5'2" to 5'5" lang ang taas, ano? Ano bang naintindihan niyo sa prosesong yan? How can we ensure that the PNP has a respectable budget, not subject to pakiusapan?
Well, in fairness, talagang binibigyan ng pansin naman ng PNP at patuloy yung pagtaas ng ating capability program. Pero still, kailangan pa rin natin talaga yung gap natin ngayon, yung talagang initial or basic requirement ng PNP natin is hindi pa natin nakukuha. At yan naman ay sinusulong na rin sa both houses of Congress pero hindi pa natin na-realize. And probably, baka naman sakali na sa swerte, iniintay tayo para mas makatulong para ma-push din talaga yan. But it boils down actually, Cito, dun sa implementation. Kasi alam mo, sa akin, sa experience ko na galing sa PNP, alam mo, ang naandyan na mga programa, mga policies, and as well as iba pang sinasabi nating mga roadmap na naandyan. But the point is the proper implementation or strict implementation nitong mga ito. Kaya nga sa akin, yung maikling panunungkulan na 6 months, wala naman tayong nire-invent dyan. We just implement itong moral compass of the PNP, which is the intensified cleanliness policy, focusing on the cleanliness in the offices, in the ranks, and the community. And presto, kahit pa paano nakuha natin ngayon yung suporta ng tao, the trust and confidence na nagbigay daan para mas maging epektibo tayo. So at the end of the day, ang ating mga lawmakers can just, pwedeng mag-adjust, mag-modify ng mga batas, mag-amend, based on the prevailing situation, pero it is in the implementation. At yung mismong bureaucracy, through the executive pa rin mag-implement yan. Yung corruption ang dapat mawala, na ang perang nakalaan para sa ating mga bayan, mapunta doon. Para sa akin, na experience ko with the different organizations na aking pinamunuan sa PNP, yung consultation with the police and the public, naging malaking bahagi yan. Yung aking pag-iikot sa mga barangay, police station, malaman ang kanilang hinaing, pati na ating makabayan, ito pag-revise ng mga programa na nakuha natin ang magandang collaboration. So, sa akin, whether ang pupuntahan is lawmaking, so pwede na ba natin? The point is dedication and commitment na pwede natin pagsimulan para makakuha tayo ng magandang tiwala. And through consultation, maglabas ng mga related or effective programs.
Okay, General, na-reconcile nyo na ba ni Senator Lacson and ni Senator Soto kung ano yung mga magiging legislative agenda ninyo, or have you come to a meeting of the minds? Kasi I know that Senate President Tito Soto is not really, kumbaga, yung mga oplan tokhang ni Bato de la Rosa, hindi yun yung style ni Tito Soto. Sa kanya is reform the user and jail the pusher. Pero kayo ba nila Senator Lacson, Senator Soto, ano bang napag-usapan niyo na regarding our drug problem and what the stand of your group will be?
Sito, about the drug problem, tayo nagkakaisa na talagang holistic approach ito. So nakikita lang kasi natin yung role ng PNP na parang inaasa sa law enforcement itong supply reduction na mawala ang mga those who are supplying these drugs. Pero ang point natin doon, yung demand reduction, which is actually, ako para sa akin, ganun ka-importante o maaring mas importante pa, itong prevention. And para doon sa hindi ba gumagamit at doon sa mga involved na dyan, yung rehabilitation and eventually yung kanilang reintegration sa komunidad. At nakita natin na si Senate President Tito Soto, nanguna dyan at sa prevention and rehabilitation. And sa law enforcement, tanggap na natin yan, kailangan natin yan. Naging epektibo ang ating law enforcement dyan, except for some lapses. Sinasabi natin pag malabis na hindi man natin kinukonsinti. Alam mo, ipasok ko lang in
Yes,
consultation
sir.
with si Senator Ping Lacson and Senator Tito Soto. For the longest time, they've been in the Senate at sila mismo yung naghihimay, nagagawa ng mga batas at sinisiguro na itong mga ibinibigay na pondo para sa ating bayan talaga nagagamit sa maayos na paraan. Pero they can just legislate at they can just amend the law. Pero ang sinasabi nga nila, baka naman sa pagkahaba-habang panahon na kanilang pagtutok, paghimay-himay sa mga batas na yan, paggawa na yan, ganito pa rin tayo ngayon. Hindi kaya dapat naman silang gumagawa ng batas. Pagbigyan naman na ma-implement itong mga batas na pinag-isipan nila ng mabuti. Kaya nga, bigyan natin ng pagkakataon. Itong dalawang ito na sabi nga, pag pinag-combine mo is 5 decades of public service, lalo na sa legislation, na sila na mag-implement. And our side, kami po bilang sa mga lawmakers, napakaganda na tumulong dito. Pero at the end of the day, just like what I've experienced in the PNP, it is in the implementation of the existing policies and programs na yan naman is nire-revise from time to time to adjust and
Okay.
adapt to the prevailing situation.
General, what is your position on the death penalty?
Well, para sa akin na ang best crime prevention pa rin is the certainty na yung lawbreakers natin is mananagot at saka pati mahuhuli. So, ang point ko is it's better to acquit 10 guilty persons rather than to punish an innocent one. So, para sa akin mahalagang buhay. So I
Okay.
prefer that we should strengthen the criminal justice system. Lalo na sa sitwasyon natin ngayon na dahil nga sa hindi man tayo wala tayong state-of-the-art investigative technology at andun pa rin yung allegation na merong mga pag-aabuso, ayaw natin na merong inosenteng tao na mamamatay or masasawi dahil dito. So,
What is-
para sa akin,
Okay.
yung death penalty ay hindi kailangan kung mapapalakas lalo pa natin ang criminal justice system.
Okay, sa iyong eksperyensya, no, ano ba ang malalaking sakit ng ulo sa justice system natin? Kasi may mga nagsasabi na yung ating legal process ay pagkahaba-haba at pinahaba ng mga ilang tiwaling abogado para kumita, or dahil napakakonti ng mga korte natin, or yung ating mga kulungan, that our penitentiaries and jail facilities are so few and so small that it is inhuman to continue arresting people under those circumstances.
Well, Cito, talagang halo-halo na. Sama-sama na nga sinasabi natin na nagresulta dito sa ating sistema ngayon. Yung ating criminal justice system, somehow, lahat yan hanggang sa komunidad is apektado na. Kaya nga, para sa akin, ma-improve din itong mga role nila. And then, yung pangkalatang kultura na maalis yung pang-abuso, as well as yung pondong inilaan para sa lahat ng mga struktura nito, mapapunta doon. Yun ang isang nakita natin talaga na malaking problema. Kaya nga, I can say that itong masiguro natin nga na mawawala ang korupsyon sa lahat ng level ng ating bureaucracy, napakalaking bagay na yan. And it starts naman with regard to the law enforcement. Uulitin ko at ibabalik ko, kung ang ating law enforcement agencies, ating kapulisan, is mas magiging epektibo sa kanilang pagpapatupad nito at masisiguro nga na maayos ang gagawin sa kanilang trabaho, yun ay magtutulak para doon pa lang sa law enforcement, tamang investigasyon na ngayon ay malaking bahagi para mas magandang prosecution. And the lapses that we have observed in other the pillars of the criminal justice system could be improved. Well, of course, through the implementation sana nitong ating namumuno dyan. But kung kinakailangan, revision on the existing guidelines or laws na pwede nating mapag-aralan as we go along based on consultation with those involved in these particular aspects.
Okay, General, we'll just go for a very short break. Pagbalik natin, balikan ko naman yung ibang topic na kung saan nakita ko yung picture mo recently tungkol dyan sa online sabong na mukhang ngit-ngit na ngit-ngit ka. Kasama na si Ping Lacson na nag-comment na rin dyan sa online sabong na yan. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Well, welcome.
Bilang Pilipino.
Pagpasensyahan nyo na po at sumasabi dahil nagre-recover pa si Arvic Tolentino sa kanyang booster shot dyan sa medyo may mga tao po. There are some people who are actually sharing how the booster shot, yung hindi nila pinansin yung first two, pero itong booster biglang may nararamdaman sila. Pero hindi naman malala, kanya lang. Kumbaga pumaparada dahil sa kanilang nararamdaman. Anyway, good morning to Colonel Aniseta Scati Katigbak. Welcome to my friends in BMEG and dun sa mga tiga-alitagtag na nanonood po ng programa. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And also Mr. Alan Blackman. Now, General Guillermo Eleazar, meron po kaming ipapakita. I think, yeah, it's ready. We'll just show this graphics and please comment on it after we air it. Arvic, can you please air the graphics, please? Ayan po, sinabi ni General Guillermo Eleazar sa kanyang post, maaring naaaliw tayo sa mga joke at meme sa social media na dahil sa online sabong ang dating kotse ay naging motor na, yung dating may-ari ng bahay ay homeless na at yung dating may pamilya ay hiwalay na. Subalit hindi ito nakakatuwa sa mga pamilyang tinamaan ng addiction sa online sabong, kaya nakikiisa tayo sa layunin ni Senator Ping Lacson at ni Senator Tito Soto na magkaroon ng government intervention sa e-sabong dahil pamilyang Pilipino na ang sinira nito. Okay, General Eleazar, pakibigyan na po kami ng views ninyo dito kasi mukhang kayo lang nila Ping Lacson ang talagang nanindigan laban dito.
Sito, yung tama sinabi mo, nagigit tayo sa ill effects ng any forms of gambling. Kaya nga, but we have to accept na meron tayong mga allowed na gambling, pero kailangan merong strict regulation from the authorities. So, well, kagaya ng sabong, di ba meron tayong mga traditional sabong na kahit anong sabihin natin, hindi natin maalis sa kultura ng ating ng ating bayan. In fact, kung idudugtong pa natin yan dun sa ating number games or itong weteng. Kaya nga, hindi man matanggal yan, nilegalize na lahat, pinasok na lang yung mga small town lottery na kailangan, meron talagang mga safeguard na dapat gawin ang ating pamahalaan. So, the same manner with online sabong na ito naman ay lumutang dahil nga sa pandemic at hindi pa pwede ang mga traditional sabong, yan, in a way, yun ngayon yung solusyon doon sa sinasabi nating traditional sabong. Pero dapat makontrol pa rin siya. Eventually, ating napag-alaman na from itong sa online sabong na meron tayong mga agents na dapat dyan na nagko-connect itong ating mga bettors, pati sa GCash nag-open na siya. So, ang iniwasan kasi natin dito is yung pati yung mga kabataan, hindi na ngayon masupervise ng mga magulang. Kasi nga, kung i-compare natin, for example, sa traditional sabong, hindi pwede pumunta ang bata dyan. How much more tumaya yan, di ba? At saka pati, pagpunta mo doon, Kumbaga, show me your money. Pagpasok diyan, hindi ka
Mhm.
pwede magkautang-utang kung sakali dahil dala mo pera. Pero in the case of online sabong, merong iba na pwedeng abusuhin. Kaya nga, ang sinasabi ko dito, and ganyan din ang sinabi ni Senator Ping Lacson and Tito Soto, na dapat ito'y pag-aralan. At sa ganang akin,
Mhm.
konsultahin both the game fowl industry as well as itong better itong ating mga kababayan at alamin ano ba talaga itong mga concern na ito. And through consultation, malaman ano ba yung ating masasabing komprehensibo na aksyon na dapat gawin para maproteksyonan not only the industry, but pa yung mga bettors natin. Ang bottom line, ayaw natin na mayroong magsasakripisyo or maapektuhan dito sa online sabong na ito, just like any other authorized or allowed uh, activities na
Mhm.
industries na pinapayagan ng ating gobyerno.
Okay, kayo po ba ay, nagkonsulta na dun sa mga ibang kasama natin? Kasi katulad si kasamang Ted Pailon, aba, ay ang inupakan niya ng husto recently ay yung PAGCOR. Kasi yun na rin naman ang sinasabi namin na kami mga taga-media na yung PAGCOR ang promotor niyan, eh. Sila yung may pakana niyan at dapat sila yung, kumbaga, pinapatawag at ginigiling-giling o binibistay para magkaalaman na bakit ba tuwang-tuwa silang pakialaman nito o palalain itong online sabong.
Sito, tama yun. So, bahagi yun nung iniisip natin o sinasabi natin na consultation.
Mhm.
Kasi through these events nga dahil sa pandemic, and probably, hindi natin masisi na kailangan natin ng additional revenue para sa ating pamahalaan na siya naman talagang kailangan natin, lalo na sa pandemic situation na ito, yun ang kanila na consider. So, what I'm trying to say is that from the point of view of those lawmakers na andyan na ngayon, no less than the
Mhm.
Senate President Tito Soto and Senator Ping Lacson, ang nakita na dapat talaga pag-aralan para magkaroon ng
Okay,
safeguard. At kasama
okay.
yon sa sinasabi natin na consultation. Kasama itong mga authorities like PAGCOR na siya na mga nagsusupervise dito sa sistemang ito.
Hayaan niyo 'pag kayo ay naging senador na at kailangan niyo ng consultative committee, ako na mismo ang magkukumpo niyan dahil dito lang sa bakuran namin, tambak ang mga sabongero na talagang naggingit-ngit. Yung mga traditional sabongero na galit diyan sa online dahil ang dami ng nagpakamatay, ang dami ng mga nagkahiwa-hiwalay na mag-asawa at mga anak na nalulong sa sugal. Now, next topic, General Eleazar, paano naman po itong issue ng vaccination? Kasi medyo nagkakainitan na. Kahapon may nakausap akong isang pinuno ng simbahan at sinabi sa akin, paano ba ang gagawin namin dito? Sinasabi ng IATF, dapat kung walang vaccination card o hindi nabakunahan, hindi papapasukin sa simbahan. Pero pag sinabihan naman namin yung tao, sasabihan kaming discrimination, babanatan kami online, pagkatapos tatakutin ka pa, nakakasuhan ka. How do we resolve this, how we treat these anti-vaxxers? Kasi yun na nga yung nagiging problema. Gusto nila exception to the rule sila and gusto naman nila na they will benefit while being exempted.
Yes, Sito. Tama yan kasi nga nag-develop ng issue nito dahil nga doon sa ating vaccination program. And nakita natin na because of this vaccination program, eto ngayon tayo at manageable na ang ating sitwasyon na sa ngayon. But the issue is about mandatory, di ba? Yung pinipilit
Mhm.
ngayon. So, well, actually, tingnan din natin na anong reason bakit ganun. And kung meron pa tayong effort para malaman info dissemination at ma-realize kung ano ba ang importansya nito. Well, example na lang sa PNP. Sa PNP kasi, when we started yung survey namin noon sa vaccination, more than 50% of the PNP personnel talagang hesitant na magpabakuna. Pero ngayon, nakita natin, talagang halos less than 1% na. In fact, less than 1% na ang hindi pa na nababakunahan. Ito yung dahil dun sa effort ng info dissemination na probably dapat mas maging malakas pa. Ngayon, tama yung na inisip ba na incentivize. So, well, kung kagaya nung dati, bawal ang lahat ng ganito. So, acceptable yun. Pero, dahil meron bakuna, instead na bawal, pinagbibigyan na siya. So, hindi kasi pwede na lahat ng ating mga iniisip is lahat pwedeng pagbigyan. So, darating at darating sa punto na binabalanse ito at base nga doon sa ating sitwasyon, I believe that before coming to that situation na talagang i-require or mapapenalize na yung babakuna, it's better to incentivize itong nag-a-avail ng bakuna na ito. For example, sa isang pasilidad nga, dati naman, without the vaccine or yung ating sitwasyon, bawal lahat pumunta doon. Pero dahil nga ngayon is may bakuna na, pinapayagan na sa kanila. This will not be taken as a penalty doon sa hindi pupunta kasi dati naman, ang naging default na natin, bawal lahat siya eh. Pero dahil nagpapakuna ka, pwede ka nang pumunta. So in that way, pwedeng explain natin sa ayaw mabakuna, hindi namin kayo pinapenalize. We're just giving reward doon sa nagbabakuna. Dahil without the bakuna, lahat tayo is bawal pumunta siya. Pwede sigurong ganun ang ipakita natin or pwedeng ganun dating doon sa mga kasama natin na dapat paliwanagan. And eventually, we should find ways to convince them na kailangan sila at maging bahagi nitong ating cooperasyon and collaboration for the rest of the people.
Okay, so i-review natin, General Eleazar, kasi alam ko kailangan mo nang mag-goodbye. Pero una't una, kung magiging senador ka, isa sa mga gusto mong makita ay yung Internal Affairs Division. Kumbaga, yung check and balance ng PNP, yung grupo na yon ay hindi lang magiging recommendatory, kumbaga bibigyan pa sila ng siguro quasi-judicial power o the power to file cases and pursue cases against erring police officers. Okay, number one. Number two, ang gusto ninyo ay mabigyan ng modern equipment technology ang PNP para sa ganon ay hindi na umaasa dun sa mga Jurassic system of witness testimony and presentation of evidence na kumisan ay napapabricate. Kumbaga, let science tell the truth on a case. Number three, hindi ka panig sa death penalty. You would rather that we make sure the justice system works and makulong yung guilty at maparusahan, hindi dapat patayin dahil isa ang mapatay ay delikado kung yun naman ay walang kasalanan. So number three. Number four, kailangang gumawa ng mas mahigpit na pamamalakad sa e-sabong, online sabong, at sana mabalik na yung traditional sabong na ngayon ay pinagpipiestahan ng mga ilang mayor na tumatanggap ng lagay. Okay, diretsahan lang po ako dito. And last but not the least, ay sinasabi nyo nga na itong vaccination campaign na ito should be done to further incentivize yung mga nagpabakuna at pasensya na lang yung mga ayaw magpabakuna. That is the consequence of their choice. Kumbaga, may freedom to choose. Kung ayaw mong makatanggap ng incentive, sorry na lang. Yun na lang po. Anyway, General, I'll give you the last say. Dahil ikaw ay kumakandidato, dapat madinig ka, hindi ako.
Yes, Cito. Yes, ito po ako ngayon at inaalay na naman ang ating sarili para magpatuloy sa ating serbisyo sa ating bayan. So wala po akong expertise sa napakaraming bagay. Ang akin lamang po, yung aking mahigit 3 dekada ng serbisyo at yung huling 6 na buwan na pagiging Chief PNP. If you appreciated ito pong effort ng ating kapulisan sa aking pamumuno, yan lang po yung aking klase ng pamumuno na pwede kong ialay sa inyo. Yan po yung klase ng aking subok na pamumuno na nagbigay ng dangal at kredibilidad sa Philippine National Police. At yan ang klase ng pamumuno na hinihingo po na subukan nyo para magkaroon tayo ng mas malakas na boses sa Senado. Alam nyo, Cito, isa lang ang aking paninindigan at yan ay ang tama ay tama at mali ay mali. At talagang hindi natin paninindigan ang pagkakamali. Agad natin itama, huwag nang palakihin, huwag na para hindi makahawa at magdulot ng maganda para sa pangkalahatan. At hayaan nyo na itong aking serbisyo na mahabang panahon, yan ang aking maging pahunan para ipaglaban ko ang mga laban ng buhay nyo sa araw-araw. Dahil ang laban nyo, yaan ang magiging laban ko. Maraming salamat, Cito.
Okay, General, may nagtatanong lang din eh. Tingin saan probinsya daw po kayo?
Yes, I'm from Tagkawayan, Quezon. Doon po ako pinanganak, doon ako
Ayun.
pinalaki. At yung aking ama na guerrilla or war veteran, siya po yung nag-convince sa akin, nag-inganyo na pumasok ng Philippine Military Academy. And after graduation, ayun na, for the next almost 4 decades ay daan dito sa serbisyo publiko. At ngayon ay muling inaalay ating sarili kung inyo pong pagtitiwalaan sa awa ng ating Panginoong may kapal.
Aba, sa awa ng Panginoong may kapal, kayo ay akin ang tatawaging Senator Guillermo Eleazar. Maraming salamat po, sir.
Maraming salamat, Cito. Mabuhay po tayo, mag-ingat po tayo lahat.
Okay, that's retired General Guillermo Eleazar, who we look forward to calling or addressing as Senator Guillermo Eleazar. Ladies and gentlemen, I shamelessly, unabashedly endorse him for senator. Alam ko naman po na yung iba sasabihin, Sito, media ka, hindi ka dapat mag-endorse. Alam nyo po, for the longest time, I have tried to keep my mouth shut. I have tried not to express any political leanings, etc., which I don't, I don't have a political color. Okay? Kung kulay lang po ang pag-uusapan, sa inyo na ang kulay nyo kasi color blind na ako, may glaucoma na. Tapos ngayon, ini-impose ko pang maging politically color blind. However, there comes a point when deserving, qualified, okay, and courageous individual such as Guillermo Eleazar steps up and says, here I am. Sabi nga, hindi ba? Parang doon sa si Elijah ba yun? Elijah yata yun. Here I am, Lord. Di ba? Kumbaga, Isaiah, here I am, send me. Ako po, tinawag 2 beses ng isang magaling na kingmaker. Sabi ko, sorry boss, ayaw ni Lord, di ba? Now, in the case of General Eleazar, once again, he is stepping up and saying, here I am at your service. Lalayo pa po ba kayo? Ito, diretsahan, in public spaces, he has shown his true character. Kung minsan nga, gusto na sapakin yung mga korap na pulis, yung mga adik na pulis, yung mga mamamatay na kung sino. But, he has always been true to form, transparent and committed to the job. Alam niyo, kung sasabihan niyo, kung Sito, wag kang magpapanig, you have to be, you have to be apolitical and walang bias. Hindi po bias yun. Kasi yung bias, yung kinokontra mo dahil hindi naniniwala sa paniniwala mo. But in the case of people like General Eleazar, hindi po ito bias. Kasi nakita ko na pinagtrabahuan niya yung reputasyon niya. Taon ang tinanim niya sa naging karanasan niya at dunong niya. At hindi po natin dapat suklian yon ng baliwala. Diba? Anyway, I'm just sorry, I may be sounding like someone who is campaigning, but no, I simply want people who are true to the job and who are true to the faith na gagawin nila yung dapat. So yan po, no? Now, as far as the topics are concerned, yung sinabi ni General Eleazar na empowering the Internal Affairs Division of the PNP, not just to be a recommendatory office, but actually an office with quasi-judicial or judicial power or whatever, no? Kayo na yung mga legal dyan. Kasi ito po ang katotohanan, ang situation sa internal affairs ng PNP. Tiga-imbestiga lang sila at habang iniimbestigahan nila yung kabaro nila, ang tawag sa kanila ng mga kabaro nila, mga demonyo. Bakit? Kasi sila yung naghahanap ng mga ebidensya laban dito sa mga tiwaling mga pulis. They're the ones who track down, investigate, and determine whether a policeman is corrupt or committed a crime. So they are black sheep of the family, so to speak. Biruin mo yun, kaaway mo na yung kabaro mo, they hate you for doing your job, and then when you submit the report, the general or the director, etc. would say, sit on it. Nangyari na po yan in the last administration. Nakita naman natin yan. Na-imbestigahan yan. The 5 cases should have been filed, but the provincial commander or regional director said, ayaw mo na yan muna. Bandang huli, lahat sila nakasuhan. Anyway, boundary na po tayo. Here's our blessings, and I wish you this for you from the book of Philippians 4:19 to 20. And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. Please believe that. My God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus. To our God and Father be glory forever and ever. Amen. Yan po ang blessings. Thank you for joining us here on Cignal TV, One News PH, channels 8 and 250. Have a good day. God bless you.